he wasn't possible for him to get a job at that. There's always some external excuse for why they were poor, but the bottom line is they had a kid who was born on Amavasya. So Parashara also, he doesn't just tell us that it'll make the parents poor, he gives a remedy to the parents. He tells the parents, as soon as that baby's born, to worship the sun and the moon, and he gives us the whole puja to be done for the child. So what happens if you don't find out about this until you're 30-something years old?
Do it anyway.
Do you do it or do your parents do it?
Depends who's poor.
At that age, you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do it and that'll help the parents?
It'll remove all kinds of afflictions and mental sufferings and things of that
So
nature.
it isn't just material poverty.
It's primarily, this is Parashara is telling us material poverty. But it has all kinds of other associations that go along with everything in the universe is connected. The parents are poor, that it ripples out through other ways.
Affects you.
Yeah. So
in a sense, it's saying you're poor. If you're born, if you're a baby and your parents are poor, you're poor.
yeah.
Disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Disadvantaged,
Your
yeah.
lack of support. The moon is that which supports you. So that's the first one that Parashara gives us. The second one Parashara gives us is birth on Krishna Chaturdashi.
Not you.
You born on Krishna Chaturdashi?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I always felt like they were poor when I was growing up.
You what?
I always felt like my parents were poor.
Well, Krishna Chaturdashi is a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Krishna Chaturdashi. The Tithi, for this one, the Tithi, you divide it into 6 parts. And the first 6 is, there's nothing, it's not a problem. It's okay, that first part of it. The second 6 causes early death of the father. The third 6 causes early death of the mother. The fourth 6 causes ruin of the maternal uncle. The fifth 6 causes destruction of the family. And the last 6 causes downfall of the self and loss of wealth.
Must be number 2. Bob.
Father died early?
61.
Well, what happens is, generally when it says death in these chapters, I don't know about in Parashara's time, but in our time, it'll also show divorce and separation.
So that could mean divorce and separation.
It could be early divorce and separation.
What about mental breakdown? It's
Dis-
like complete lockdown.
Basically, what Parashara is saying is destruction.
Yeah.
Destruction of the father. There's just...
Yeah, that happened when he was 4.
When he was 4. So there we go. It's this... There's a destruction happens. And is it your father's? Your father had you born on that day. There's a karma between the two. It's you didn't cause it, but there's this... If your father had read Parashara, and he said, oh man, I just had a kid born on this day, this is pretty dangerous, he would have read the remedy. And the remedy consists of worshipping Shiva with a crescent moon on his head. Shiva's wearing white clothes, he has a white mala, he's riding his bull, Nandi. And he worshipped Shiva with a Varuna mantra and all the 9 planets, and would say Mrityunjaya regularly, he would have been fine.
Okay, let me understand something. But you're brother and sister, right?
Yeah.
So your father dies early, but it was when he was 4 years old. But how old were you?
11.
11. So you would have to have a similar affliction in your chart then.
Maybe something different.
It was something different. She's 11.
He
so.
died when I was 24, but he was like,
He broke.
Oh, you broke down earlier.
Yeah,
broke
he was
down.
completely
Okay.
he was on drugs, stuck in
Okay.
his easy chair for
18 years.
20
Okay.
years or something.
Okay.
Krishna
Just
Chaturdashi.
wondering, just trying to understand
Yeah.
family things.
But the thing is now, the father would have had to have done the remedy right when he was born.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Now that
it
his
says
father-
early, yeah.
Now that his father's already passed, the remedy's not going to do that much. It wouldn't hurt for you to do this remedy, in general, to strengthen your moon. You know, worshipping Shiva in this form is going to be beneficial for you. This is the form of Shiva indicated by that position. The negative effects have already happened, but still it can still have beneficial effects for you in general, as well as for your relationship. Because you see this is based on a tithi, right? So this will also just bring more beneficial energy into your relationship and life. We see these where every time I teach this class, I sit there and everybody in the class is like, wow, that happened to me. Oh, it's these work. So
can you go over again quickly what those afflictions are again? Like the sixth
they're right here.
position? Where?
Page 16. It says 1 to 6, and I give a percentage there.
So, you mean the divorce, separation, breakdown, destruction of the father?
I got it here.
You got it?
Yeah.
And so if you look, most programs, both Jehora and Sri Jyotish Star, they give you the percent of the tithi, how much it's gone through. And so I broke it down into percent here so that you can easily figure that out.
Now, can you use this not only with people, but for other things, like going back to more mundane things, like if you have a business starts on Krishna Chaturdashi, dosha.
Well, you wouldn't want to start on you don't want to start on these doshas.
Right, so that just means your business isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this right here is letting you know that that's not a good time to start a business.
Or anything, basically.
Most things, no. Anything of an auspicious nature, definitely.
But what about things related to Shiva?
To start, Shiva sadhana Shiva is the god of destruction. You know, so when we start worshipping Shiva, we're asking for this knowledge that destroys all our attachment. And things of that nature. So it's not going to help us on a material level.
So these
Shiva
things
is
would be...
also worshipped for prosperity. Shiva is also the auspicious, brings children.
He's not, he's worshipped, but you wouldn't worship him for children on a Krishna Chaturdashi. You worship Shiva for children on a Monday. Because he's there working with the water element and the moon at that point. When we worship Shiva on Krishna Chaturdashi, it's particularly for the emergence of the mind with the Supreme. It's a very spiritual level of worshipping Shiva. Ekonomnakshatra dosha. Everybody got that? So yeah, you're just better off to avoid that. And if, for example, you're in a situation you have no choice, the company says, this day we have to do it.
Just meant to be, right?
It's meant to be. It's their fixed karma, but you can at least look at the remedy.
Okay.
And do the remedy.
But
Add the
what if-
remedy. Make a web page, throw the image slightly behind the web page very lightly or something. You know, do something that you can... Yeah. Just like when I got the house here, the day I had to sign the loan, it was Mula Nakshatra. And you're not supposed to get a loan or anything on Mula Nakshatra. And I told them, I said, I can't come sign. They're like, if you don't sign, you know, today's the last day. They waited till the last day to have me come sign. They're like, it's the last day. If you don't come, they're going to sue, da-da-da-da-da. You know, like, they're like, this could be like a few $1,000s law. You know, they're just going on and on and on. It's like, and they waited till last day on purpose. What I learned later is that's how they do it. They wait till last day because, you know, they always throw a little something in the loan that they don't talk about. And then, you know, if you don't sign, you can't not sign it because you've got to sign it or else your whole escrow cancels in the whole 9 yards. So they do it on purpose. So I heard that 80% of the time they do this. Like it's a general practice by these. But so on Mula Nakshatra I had the sign. So it ended up my monthly is a lot higher than I had planned it to be. Because they threw in a few extra, yeah. But so, you know, like it's fixed karma. It's just fixed karma.
That you could do, or something that you could do to.
I'll refinance them at the right time, and get a better muhurta when I refinance. So.
You couldn't lie and say, you know, I broke my leg. I'll be over there tomorrow.
I wish I could lie.
That's worse karma.
They're like, I mean, unless your mother is dead, dying, or something, like they're like, this is what they said to me on there. They're like, unless your mother dies or something that you can't be here, like, this is so.
Could you do the Mula remedy though? The Mula Nakshatra break?
Probably.
Have a great day.
Yeah. See you later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you. We'll have fun.
So Ekonomnakshatra dosha. The last time we taught this class, there was 2 people in the room that had it. This is when 2 people in close family have the same nakshatra. The younger person will suffer. And so, and generally the younger person suffers relative to the same area that the elder brother or elder father or whatever the elder that has a similar nakshatra started. So our best example is George Bush Sr. and Jr. They have the same nakshatra. And if you look, the father started all this issues in Iraq. And then it died down. We had Bill Clinton was in office 8 years. 8 years he was in office, and we had no problems in Iraq. As soon as George Bush Jr. gets in office, bombs start throwing out, and all of a sudden we're in war with Iraq again. So the same karma from this is an Ekonomnakshatra dosha. It's George Bush's curse to be stuck losing money in Iraq and having this taint his name. If he took the Lord of his nakshatra and they did the proper puja for the Lord of their nakshatra, all this stuff with Iraq would begin to decrease. But the fact, because we can't just do, for a normal person, your puja has to be at the level of who you are. Because who you are is the level of your karma. So if you're just an average person who works in a small store, then a small puja, that you pay a pujari $100 to do, and you do all the stuff and collect it, that's enough. For somebody at George Bush's level, the puja has to be a huge event. In order to balance, it's his level, he's got a huge karma. Every action he does affects thousands of people. So, millions of people. Billions of people. So, when he does that puja, he's got to get, it has to be huge yajna. It has to be, huge amounts of offering. The what has to be offered to balance out that karma is huge.
Can we do it for him?
And so that's where I'm going with this is
Have to take his firstborn.
we can't afford to do the puja. It's too elaborate. You need somebody who a puja at that level is maybe 20 to 40 grand just to do the basic. Done correctly, it'd be at least $100,000. All the Brahmins that need to be fed, everything that needs to be done, and the year-long preparation to be done for his status. But if his father had done it when he was young, it'd be a different story. Unfortunately, so when this gets activated, this dosha, is generally when the younger sibling and elder sibling separate. So when the elder sibling moves out of the house, or the younger moves out of the house, or whenever there's some separation between them from that, because it's when they're it's the Ekonomnakshatra dosha is when it's close family having the same nakshatra. Brothers, mother, father, son, something of that nature having the same. When that person leaves, that's when the problem starts with the younger one. And last time we taught the class, there were some psychologists here, and they were telling us that when there's twins, and twins share the same nakshatra, that the younger one is more likely to have, the second one born is more likely to have mental trauma and mental problems, which would fit into Ekonomnakshatra dosha. And
Ram is one of the twins.
That's what my kids
are you the younger
No,
or
he's
elder?
the elder.
You're the elder?
Yeah.
So what happened to your younger when you guys separated?
He's not working, he cannot work, he goes through a lot of mental.
The younger.
Yeah.
Will you see the remedy? The remedy? It's Ekonomnakshatra. So Parashara tells us the remedy. And he says the remedy lies with proper worship of the deity ruling the nakshatra. It must be performed on an auspicious day and an auspicious nakshatra while the moon is strong. And Parashara says it can't be done on a Rikta Tithi or a Vishti Karna. So you need a proper Muhurta, and you need to do a full puja to your nakshatra deity. Do you know the deity of your nakshatra? What-
Just a few months ago.
What's this? You did what?
This is no? Puduritari? In Malayalam, it's Purvashada, I think.
Purvashada.
No.
Okay.
We
And-
did the entire yajna in my own house
Uh-huh.
for 3 days with all the Brahmins, everybody.
And how has your younger brother been since?
We were away from him and we
Uh-huh.
maybe next time we will go. We did that.
And you had a good Muhurta done. Of course. Good, good. So I wanna you gotta tell me how this younger brother is doing now, because after that puja he should have improved. According to Parashara. Rishi Parashara.
George Bush Jr. and Senior also have the same moon and the eruption of
Mm-hmm.
and the eruption.
I remember my guru, his Puram,
Mm-hmm.
that's in Malayalam, I don't know, Phalguni, I think,
Mhm.
don't know Hindi.
Mm-hmm.
And when I relate to him as my father, and he looks at me as his daughter. And we both have Phalguni Nakshatra. And when he was sick, he said I should do every,
Mm-hmm. But that's guru and shishya.
never allowed me to. I
Yeah.
mean, like, never even allowed me to look at him with the kind eye.
Uh-huh.
And that when he was suffering. Maybe
Mhm.
something to do with the space that I
Mhm.
had to be away.
Mm-hmm. But we see Parashara, everything that Parashara is saying, it works. It works. Now, so with twins, it's easy to know that, they have the same nakshatra, and when one is leaving, there's going to be some affliction to the younger one. In other situations, sometimes the same nakshatra can be happening even if they were born a year apart, because there's only 27. Or if the mother and fathers are the same. So how are we going to know that, and what if we only have one of them's chart? How do we know that there's an Ekonomnakshatra dosha?
Something with Baba Balia.
No.
What was your question again?
Okay, so for his case it's easy, they're twins.
Mm-hmm.
So we know they have the same nakshatra. So if we see when they separate, his brother starts to have some problems, we know it's just a nakshatra deity puja that needs to be done. Now, what if my brother and I were 2 years apart? What if we had the same nakshatra? Just by chance. Or like, for example, George Bush and his father. They have the same nakshatra. How would we know without having both their charts? Sometimes you see the whole family. And literally, like sometimes you have one person come and they bring their mother's chart, their father's chart, they bring all their kids' charts. You get to see everything. You see how all the charts are relating together. These are readings that sometimes last 4 or 5 hours long. Other times you have just the one chart. How do we know that there's an Ekonomnakshatra dosha?
We check the house of the brother, the children, husband, and from there we can get the afflictions.
Sometimes.
Is it had the puja been done September 11th, would have avoided? I mean, that was a cause of.
Maybe it could have been. I predicted that at that time, that George Bush would be murdered because I saw some bad event happening. But instead, I forgot. His karma is the whole country's karma. Now. The king, you use the king's chart to interpret the whole country, and so instead of it being someone trying to kill him, it was somebody. Yeah. This is a place where, and it's a technique that it's, you can see maybe little things in the chart, but this is where you have to get very perceptive. and you have to know all these rules. You sit there, the person says there's a suffering, and then because you're discussing with people. Sometimes people, a woman called me once, she wanted a phone reading. She didn't want to be on the phone for the reading. She wanted me to talk the reading into a tape recorder and send her the tape without interacting. I said, I'm sorry, I don't do that. I'm sure you can. I could sit there and talk a bunch of junk for an hour. But there's an interaction that happens. And when you're talking to somebody, you sit there and you find out when they moved out of their house, everything started going wrong. Or everything started going wrong, and then you talk backwards and you see that it was as soon as their brother moved out of the house, everything started going wrong. In the same way, if we look when somebody moves into a new house and everything starts going wrong, we know that there's a problem with the Vastu. We don't need to see anything in the chart. We just need to be aware of what's happening. They move into a new house, everything starts going wrong. We know that the Vastu, the feng shui of the house, is bad for them. In the same way, if we see that an event happened and everything started going down when there was a separation of relatives, of the close family, you have to check for Ekonomnakshatra dosha. It's an indication. So you got to remember that this is something that can cause an affliction, and if it comes up that suffering started happening after that thing happened in time, after the separation happened, then you have to, could I please have your brother's chart? Could I please have your father's chart? Could I, in this way, we have to use our logic with these rules.
What about if you and your spouse have the same?
That's okay.
That's okay?
Yeah.
So it's blood, it's more blood.
It's close family is the key.
What of the Prashna Marga, and we have the Kerala Gani, where they do a particular time when you go there and the preceptor sees the chart. Every relative, and even your Puru Janma chart.
Yeah.
So
I've been to some of these, so. No, we're almost ready to take a break. So. A few more doshas. So our next dosha that Parashara teaches us about is called Sankranti dosha. Sankranti dosha is when a person is born the day the sun is changing signs. Sankranti, the day that the sun changes signs, that whole day is Sankranti. It's the whole day is destroyed by the power of the sun. And a Sankranti dosha, if you're born on that day, it's considered the wrath of Shiva. Shiva's angry at you. And it becomes an affliction. And that day, the planet that rules that day, the houses in your chart, in that chart, are destroyed. So for example, if someone is born on a Saturday, that means that Capricorn and Aquarius, those houses, are destroyed. Okay? Anything associated with those houses, any Aruda padas in that house, don't fructify. I remember the chart of one individual. He wasn't able to get married. And we were sitting around, it was a bunch of astrologers. And some astrologers are saying this, some astrologers are saying that. Everybody had something different. But nothing really was, the guy tried so many remedies, nothing was able to work. We're discussing this guy's chart, and my guru looked at his chart, and he said he has Sankranti dosha, and it's the lord of his 7th house, and it's also the lord of his Upapada Lagna. So his Upapada Lagna is destroyed, his 7th house is destroyed. How's he going to get married? Do a Sankranti dosha and it'll be fine. Sankranti dosha puja. So these doshas override everything. These are primary. These have to be fixed. That Ekonomnakshatra dosha, you needed that nakshatra puja before any other remedy could work. Any remedy before that won't work. So first it needs to be removed. Then other remedies can work. So what happens is these are primary because time is primary. So if one of these are existing in a chart, It needs to be done before any other remedy.
What if it's the next day, but it's still under 1 degree?
It's the day. Generally, I'm sure it happens, but
Okay.
yeah.
So it has to be on that day that it changes signs.
In general, that's how it's... In general, there's one day that's considered the Sankranti day, based on sunrise. So let's say Sankranti started at 5 o'clock at night. Then it's the next day that's the Sankranti day. Because that day is below 0 to 1 when sun rises. So, let's see. Now, the puja for this, the remedial measure for Sankranti dosha, it's I got to see one of these, and Parashara talks about in the northern direction setting up 3 Ashtapadma, 3 8-petaled lotuses, putting bowls of water with coconuts on it, worshipping one as the sun, one as the moon, one as Shiva. And there's a full elaborate ceremony that's done. There's all kinds of herbs inside these pots with water. All these long pujas are done. Mrityunjaya mantra, Trayambakam Yajamahe. It's done large amounts. And then that water, when the puja's all done, is poured over the person that has the Sankranti dosha. And in general, like here, Parashara is talking about having the parents do it and pouring and washing the baby. Now, when I saw this done, it was done with a 35-year-old woman. She had discovered that Sankranti was the problem and she needed to rectify it. At 35 years old, she had it done, and after they were done, in her purple sari, she had, the kalashes dumped over her head to help remove this dosha. Okay, grahana dosha. Born on a solar in poverty. So for being born on eclipse, the nakshatra deity is worshipped. And if it's a solar eclipse, a gold image of the sun is made. If it's a lunar eclipse, a silver image of the moon is made. And a lead image of Rahu is made. And all those are worshipped. So it's 4 images are worshipped for being born on a eclipse. And again, similar puja. Then we have Gandanta dosha. Gandanta dosha is when the sun and moon are in between changing signs. And the particular Gandantas are Pisces and Aries, Cancer, Leo, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. And we've discussed these Gandanta points before. Pisces to Aries is called Swagandanta. It means the changing of your own self. Cancer, Leo is Matri Gandanta. It's the mother, suffering of the mother point. And Scorpio Sagittarius is Pitri, the father Gandanta. And Parashara gives the remedies for these, and they, for the Pisces, Aries, and Cancer, Leo, they're pretty simple remedies. But when we get into the Scorpio and Sagittarius, they get to be very complicated remedies, very elaborate remedies. And elaborate to the point where Parashara has a whole chapter just on if the Gandanta is in Mula Nakshatra, in the Sagittarius part, or if it's in Jeshta, in the Scorpio part. If it's right there changing signs, he has a whole chapter on the whole puja to be done.
Does this have to do with the self-mother and father, or just called that?
It has to do with it.
So it would affect yourself more if it's the Gandanta is...
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the problem? Kennedy families, had they done some kind of...
Kalasarpa. All the Kennedys have Kalasarpa. All of them. Every single chart. Every single family member. Some curse is in the family.
It's a curse.
In the family, Kalasarpa. Yeah, all the charts.
When all the planets come to one
Yeah.
side.
There's some Kalasarpa or partial Kalasarpa. There's in all the charts.
But that's in Vedanta, that's a beautiful indication of moksha.
It's an indication of moksha, but you see what happened to the family.
You never know. Subtle level, no, I'm not.
Yeah. But we have, there's Kala Sarpa and there's Kala Mrita. Whether everything's between Rahu and Ketu, everything's between Ketu and Rahu. Which direction? The Ketu Rahu is Kala Mrita, and that's good for spirituality. But everything between Rahu and Ketu is Kala Sarpa. So there's two different formations to happen. One good for spirituality, and one you look like the Kennedy family.
So they're all Kala Sarpa, there's not some Kala Mritas in there?
I can't remember. It's been a long time since.
Is that all it's good for, spirituality?
That's a whole nother class.
Kala Mrita?
That's a whole nother. We're on Pañcāṅga doshas.
Well, I'm asking because Jack has it and he's got all my money in the stock.
I wouldn't worry about it. An interesting thing with this is when I was reading this, the Mula Gandanta chapter, Parashara says that if a child is born in the Mula Gandanta, the result is the child losing their father after the 8th year. And one of my best friends has Mula Gandanta, and he's actually arranging to have the puja done this summer for it. And so when I saw that and I knew he had that dosha in his chart, I said to him, I said, I never met your father. What happened to your father? He said, oh, my mom and him got divorced when I was young and he moved to Ohio. I said, did they get divorced when you were 8? He said, yeah, how'd you know? So
Good intuition.
good intuition. He was born in Mula, so
Good memory.
yeah. So Tattva dosha is our last one we'll go over, and this Parashara doesn't talk too much about. The water and fire are inimical elements, and earth and air are inimical elements. So water and fire are Tithi and Vara. And earth and air is Karna and Nakshatra. Correct?
Yes.
When the same planet is ruling the Tithi and the Vara, where the same planet is ruling the Karna and the Nakshatra, that planet becomes afflicted.
The same planet?
Mm-hmm. So let's say you're...
Opposite,
Nope. This is called when those elements line up. That planet ties those elements together, and those elements don't want to be tied together.
So earth and air. And water and
Earth and
fire.
air. So when the Karna and the Nakshatra Lord are the same, and when the Day Lord and the Tithi Lord are the same, that planet becomes afflicted.
I have that.
Yeah, which ones?
Karna and Nakshatra Lord's Mars.
Karna and Nakshatra Lords. And so Mars is going to be causing affliction in the chart.
Too much pitta.
Okay. So 2 hours. We did it. Last thing here. The conclusion. Time is more than can be seen with the naked eye. When the time is wrong, nothing succeeds. When the time is right, everything is possible. So these doshas and these, everything about this Pañcāṅga is for our ability to make the time right. The better that we can make the time, the more success we'll have. Time. Okay, let's take a break, and then we'll do... Not specifically. This is the order that Sanjay said. This takes primary.
You mean the word, the most impactful
Yeah.
would be the Sankranti?
Because this is the thing. Those are doshas that, if that's wrong, the other remedies don't work. So you kind of got to fix that first before you can get the other remedies to work. So if you're doing like smaller remedies, you're wasting your time. Does Parashara give a remedy for the son born after 3 daughters?
I think so, yeah.
So you got 2 to be practicing.
So
At least you
no.
got a good form of Shiva to worship now.
There's something.
Cool.
You read the form of Shiva,
Yeah,
right?
we tried.
Riding on a bull.
Oh, right.
Riding on a bull with white, wearing a white mala.
Is it right?
So it means you should find a form of
It's
Shiva that's riding on a bull, and you should get white cloth.
Not really.
Wrap them in white cloth,
Oh,
get a
yeah.
white
Spell
colored
it.
mala,
It's like electrical.
put it on them.
Oh,
Like
Yeah,
read
actually,
that
that's
section in
kind of
detail and
electrical
really
smell.
try and get that form of Shiva to be worshipping.
I'm